Holy Emmanuel Selassie, Jah Rastafari. Aye. Give thanks, my Lord and Empress, and our little ones and the viewing public. This is another presentation by Bubba in Brooklyn Production, the Right Honorable Priest Jermaine here. Give thanks for being in here in St. Lucia Castries for the opening of the UBUNTU Rastafari Cultural Center by the Right Honorable Priest Kailash Leonce. Give thanks for such a momentous moment. Give thanks for the gathering. Give thanks for all ones and ones. So journey with I and I as I and I are about to take that leap, take that step into the next chapter of I and I, Rastafari life. As I and I as a people coming together, rising and raising the standard. Justice and healing, judgment and heaping. Initiative, NYAHBINGHI Rastafari Initiative. Sila, Selassie, Jah Rastafari. So come with I and I, my Lord and Empress, as I and I take this journey. My Lord, blessed be.
Cultural Center and its Jaja and I initiative. First, as is our custom, let me salute the president of ICAR, Sister Danny, the vice president whose name I slipped, Mama Lavi, a stalwart and a victor, certainly our permanent secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Sister Tourism, sorry. And therefore, I'm going to be corrected again because her name is so beautiful. I don't recall it very well, but it's Danalyn, Sister Danalyn. Beautiful. No, please don't do that, Honorable. As ones would recognize, I've identified first, the first creation that brings forth the rest of our creation, and that is our woman. So let me also recognize my own queen, Empress Vivette, and have a round of applause for the first of us to be delivered in creation, our woman folk. We salute you, we welcome you, we give thanks that you are, because you are, I am, and that's the meaning of Ubuntu. And then let me go straight into recognizing and honoring those who additionally came forward to bless us with their presence and are the offshoots and offsprings of our beautiful empresses. I first begin appropriately with the Right Honorable Priest Kailash. He tries to avoid these things because he wants me to position first our beloved Minister of Tourism, our brother Wongo Wisely. But I've spoken to the Minister of Tourism. He's a very humble man, a very wise man. And he himself have recognized the positioning of woman, the woman folk among I and I. And so he takes no objection. I speak very clearly for you, sir. And of course, he's a respectful man, and he always shows the respect to our honorable priest. Minister, thank you for your time. Thank you for taking the time out. Honorable, thank you for your time. Thank you for taking the time out. Bungo Wiser, thank you for taking the time. My brother also from the folklore or folk life or cultural center, cultural development. You know, it's organic, so being corrected even up here is good for me. I'm in a learning curve, yes, but I want to welcome every single one, even those who have not made mention of by name, Brother Stan, all the media, people who have come forward to recognize that there is a new day that has arrived. And it has not chosen any other place to arrive at, but right here at 37 Jeremy Street, right here in the country of St. Lucia, right here in the energy of goodness, even as the rest of the world is being permeated with negatives and potential evils. And I have taken time to come together to launch such an initiative that represents justice, healing, and the virtues of our African experience, and to equally remind us that without justice and healing, there's only one stance on the polarity of our human existence, and it's judgment and the heaping of fire coals. And so in seeking to avoid that, we call the family together for this opportunity to heal and to move into the new space of goodness. So, thanks again for your honorable presence. And let me first welcome remarks from our honorable permanent secretary in the Ministry of Tourism, who then will introduce us to the minister, who himself will make a few remarks. Rastafari blessings. Thanks a lot. By the way, she was placed on the spot, but she's oiled for that. Give thanks.
Thank you. Good morning. Yes, I'm placed on the spot, but I'll do my best. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Minister Dr. Unesile. Good morning, Honorable Priskelash, members of the Rastafarian community and organizations. I see some friends I have not seen in a little while. Good morning. For me this morning, it's really a joy to be here. I also feel a little overwhelmed. It's a side of me and my spirituality that is connecting with what has happened this morning. And I thank Priskelash for his persistence, his vision, for finding an opportunity to create this space that will be fruitful to many persons in here. We have a strong Rastafarian community. For a large measure has not really been highlighted as part of our cultural stock in St. Lucia. And while it is that culture is very key for us and very important for us moving forward, we really need to highlight and embrace and showcase all of the aspects of our culture. And I think Priskelash, in some way, has really broken the mold for us at the Ministry of Culture and Creative Industries to find a way to highlight this and even make it part of our tourism product. We have recently been at Mount Kailash, and even being in here at the Cultural Center, it provides an opportunity to collect that level of consciousness that the Rastafarian community exuberates. I'm also thankful of this space that is also an avenue for our creative industries to showcase themselves and to provide an opportunity to even monetize that type of talent that they have. So I don't want to go too far into it. I know Minister is coming up next, but just to say thank you, Ras Wayne, thank you, Priskelash and Mrs. Kailash, and thank you the rest of the Rastafarian community for visioning this space. And as a ministry, we will certainly keep tabs with you, keep connecting with you to identify ways that we can now push this, not just as culture, but as a product to be offered as part of the tourism industry. So thank you, and it's a blessing to be here.
Thank you so much. Thank you so very much. The peers give thanks. Of course, she mentioned that the Honorable Minister is coming forward. Put your hands together and a round of applause for the Right Honorable Ernest Hill.
Respect. Good morning to all. Priskelash, where he disappeared to. Respect him. And to all the brethren and sisters in there, good morning. Well, I didn't expect to be speaking up first. I wanted to take in some of the presentations and listen and learn. And you called me a little early. And first of all, let me apologize. I will have to leave early. I'm actually distributing some toys in Marigo and Pastor Joseph for the children today. So they'll be expecting me to join them. But I must say I'm really delighted that you invited me. Really, really delighted. We had a meeting recently in the ministry with Wayne and Priskelash and P.S. myself. And it really touched me because I was beginning to feel that there is an opportunity on the horizon for Rastafari to really assert itself in St. Lucia. And I was feeling, I can't say it did not exist before, but from my experience, I was starting to feel that they really had leadership in the Rastafari community that was going to start taking the opportunities to make sure that the Rastafari mark is left on the landscape of St. Lucia. Now, I'm not saying it did not exist before, so let me try and explain what I'm saying. And I think we'll go back to the teachings of Marcus Garvey, whatnot. No matter what you think, no matter how you feel, if you can ensure the survival of your people, you're really not progressive. You cannot. And it's why Marcus Garvey started the Black Star Liner. It's because the need to empower your people, to have the means to be independent, and to be truly sovereign in their existence. And do not believe you must stay on the margins and allow things to happen around you. But you have the talent, you have the ability, you have the knowledge to also rise and excel in the society in ways never done before. And there I am sitting with a delegation talking about how they can produce probably what can be the best experience in St. Lucia, certainly in the tourism space that we're involved in. And I'm saying, you know, it's a blessing. And it's a blessing, and I'm coming here today and seeing what you're opening. It's really a blessing. And I want to encourage all of you to push the barriers, like I say, to shatter the ceiling, like never before, to show that Rastafari can truly rise and take its place in the leadership of the society. You know, at a different level, the whole political consciousness around the region has really been driven by Rastafari in many ways. People don't want to admit that. I can tell you from my own part, I grew up Hospital Road by the bridge, and my first political sessions and understanding came from a Rastafarian. There's a guy, Victor Kade, he's called NYAHBINGHI, came down from Jamaica doing medicine, came to live right in the corner in the Fort Road. Mr. Kade had a house there and he used to live there. We grew up on the bridge there listening to the drums and him talking about Black Power movement, George Jackson, Solidar brother. And that time we youth, and you're hearing this thing and you're starting to understand what really going on. So we played marbles, we played our brags, and we doing all kind of things on the block. And he always used to put us to sit down and teaching us about Africa and Marcus Garvey. And for us, that's what we grew up doing, and that's where my political education began. Of course, I took a different road, a more, you know, socialist, communist, that kind of direction, you know, in my own political studies. But that origin came from Rastafari in terms of understanding Pan-Africanism, you know, and Dubois, and all those teachings, and all those books. And I will tell you, I still have some books at my home on the African origin of civilization. From way back growing up, I don't really throw my stuff. I always collect them. And I have my own little collection of books way, way back, teaching us as youths about those things. And again, it was Rastafari. And we just have to look around the society about the education of our people, the consciousness of our people who have been in the forefront of it. It has been Rastafari in many ways. But again, Rastafari has been marginalized. And you have a chance now to move beyond that marginalization. And today, and the opening of this center, are positive steps in moving in that direction. So Rastafari is not going to stay on the margin anymore. We're going to move into, not to become like mainstream society, but there's so many things, and I mean, some of us are anti-systemic. You know, some of the things about capitalist society and exploitative nature is not anything one should preach, one should promote. But the point is, you can't stay on the margins anymore. You have to assert yourself and to find your rightful place in our civilization. You know, it's a kind of expatriate African civilization we have in the Caribbean in many ways. And you have to take your rightful place and show that you too can be leaders in our civilization. The PS made the point about the use of the center. This center can evolve to become a powerful expression, both in terms of the creative arts, but also in people coming and visiting. Because we have plans for the development of Castries, you know, in terms of visitors who come to Castries. Where do they go when they come to Castries? There's no museum in Castries. We started the Derek Walcott project, it was stopped. We need to start it again. So when people come to Castries and they walk around Castries, they have places they can visit to understand the history of Castries, the history of St. Lucians in Castries. And this place can play a part, because Rastafarians have contributed to to the development of our country and the consciousness of our people. So I'm really excited you invited me, and I'm certainly going to spend some more time, listening to some of the other presentations and learning for myself. I really want to encourage you to make the best of all the opportunities. I look forward to continue our discussions and to really, create the environment where Rastafari can empower themselves and to look for successful and productive relationship in the future. So thank you very much.
Thank you so very much. Round of applause for the minister. This time, as the minister said, he was not expecting to come this early, but being omnipresent and all-knowing, God knows that he would have left early, so he wanted to capture it a little early. So let me just do this as just an intimate conversation before I ask Sister Danny and Bungo Wiser just to make some brief remarks. Who I and I are and what I and I really, why we're here. Why are we here today? As Rastafari, just a bit of education. Ras means leader or head. Tafari means one to be revered or respected. So the very positioning of the name Rastafari means leaders to be respected. So as leaders, recognizing our own mission, members of the Rastafari community, especially here in St. Lucia, have long laid a base in collaboration also with members of the government to work and to empower an African Renaissance and African redemption construct that I am grateful to stand on the shoulder of, but not to stand on to press it down, but to lift it with us in the work of the Dec.19th initiative. So in other words, I'm recognizing the fact that St. Lucia and St. Lucians and within the Rastafari community here in St. Lucia have long been leaders to be respected even among the Rastafari communities worldwide. And the very naming Lucia means Lucia or Lucy or Dinkinish in Ethiopia. Is the mitochondrial DNA that connects all humanity. So it's not by accident that St. Lucia is called upon to play an important role today. And so the Dec.19th initiative and its launch only seeks to further that, to build on that, to walk in the mission with you, Bungo Wise and Sister Danny, my beloved sister, and others who have laid this platform, and also perhaps to enhance the bridge that already exists within the agencies of the state to further support and empower the complete healing of our community. I know we have challenges, and so we're not only seeking a healing, but we're calling on justice and judgment. But before we even make that call, we're empowering each other to sit at the table, to break bread even today, and to chart a path toward justice and healing, redemption, and the benefits of all within this society. Perhaps then, St. Lucia creates the domino that makes Jamaica come in compliance, to make the other countries come in compliance, recognizing that this is not a competition of first, but an initiative for leaders. I thank you and I welcome your leadership, St. Lucia, St. Lucians, my Rastafari family. Sister Danny, could you please just speak briefly on the Rastafari experience here? And we keep moving.
Rastafari greetings. It is indeed an honor and I am very humble to address you today as the first Rastafari woman sister embrace to head the Ayanola Council for the advancement of Rastafari. Allow me to give thanks for such a blessing bestowed upon me by my mother and father, Emperor Haile Selassie I and Empress Mene. The Ayanola Council for the Advancement of Rastafari pledges its support to the UBUNTU movement, Jaja and I, on the occasion of the launch of its first cultural center. This initiative is very timely, and it represents a major step in ensuring that the Rastafari role in the shaping of our African Caribbean community and the atrocities, victimization, and marginalization of the Rastafari people is properly documented and represented. The hard work and sacrifices of those before us must be recognized and appreciated. We, the Rastafari people, will always be the torchbearers for our people, even while we face discrimination, oppression, and humiliation. While we march forward with pride and integrity, history has taught us that our journey will always be rough and burdensome. ICA welcomes this venture and looks forward to working with the Center in ensuring that its aims and objectives are realized, thus benefiting the whole of the Rastafari community. In closing, permit me to acknowledge and distinguish the distinguished and respected ones among us, for it is worthy to do so. Honorable Chris Kailash, I greet you and I salute you for the great works. Honorable Raswell, we are grateful as ICA to be present and we will collaborate to work collectively. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism, I greet you. Honorable Dr. Ernest Hilaire, I give thanks for your presence, and with the Rastafari people, I am grateful to you. Amongst you now that we will acknowledge and respect our contribution to the economy of St. Lucia, where you now will commit to you wanting to work with us. In saying all that, I also want to recognize the matriarch among us, Mama Ladi, and I give great respect to Mama Ladi as an elder among us. Rastafari people, I give thanks to be here and I give thanks for the initiative. Honorable Waki.
Give thanks, give thanks. Give thanks, oh, because I will just shout. Give thanks. And Mama Lavi, let me reiterate our beloved Sister Danny's, Empress Danny's song on your importance. In fact, part of the clippings that we have just to show, because part of what we are doing here also is just to distill a little bit about what the initiative, what will drive the initiative, and why some of this is so critical in time and space, this time and this space. And Mama Lavi's testimony is one that you will hear that has been extracted. We also are launching a book. It's called The Rising of the Gods, and you'll have a trailer that speaks to the book, and we'll get to that at some point. But that book comes out of the St. Lucia experience also, the Mount Kailash experience, where brothers from across the Caribbean and North America were called into St. Lucia to contemplate their lot, to recognize their frustrations, and certainly to rise themselves up out of the dust and mist of uncertainty, and to be clarified as to who they are, what their missions are, and certainly have them advance beyond their circumstance. So we're going to touch on some of that, and the video is here, we're going to show it, but in time. Let me just then, in the formal setting, welcome my elder. My beard is a little whiter than his. He, for 2 minutes, will say a couple words. Bungo wisely, you are my elder by about 10 years. So give thanks.
Yes, I say greetings, glory to word, glory to sound, glory be to the powers of the living HEAPING, St.Lucia RasTafari, and Empress Many. As the I was in the beginning, so is the I now and forever will be, the I world without end. HEAPING, Rastafari, St.Lucia. Just to start off with the word of His Divine Majesty on education. And I quote, "We are determined to be masters of our fate, owners of our wealth, and capable of removing the adjective dark from the name of our continent. Education that of the nation and of the individual, is the bastion of this goal. Words of His Divine Majesty. Yes, brethren and sisters, we give thanks for the occasion that we are gathered here today to acknowledge the official opening of the UBUNTU RasTafari Cultural Center. As the word UBUNTU refers to humanity, humane, being humane, acknowledging the humanity within all of I and I. And education, this center is definitely an education center organized by the Rastafari community through Priskelash and Brother Wayne, but it is for the benefit of the whole nation, because education is what will liberate I and I as a people. So we give thanks, for such an opportunity where such a center could come in place, where Rastafari and the wider community, and even as it is stated, even the tourist industry, because this place is also a place where ITAL will be on display, healing, all of these will be available, so it's a real preparation, reparatory justice in one form, where we come to heal ourselves, knowing what we've gone through as a people. Without the healing, our repatriation would be almost futile. So the healing is very important, and UBUNTU Center is ideal. So we encourage all ones and ones, to pass the word on, let the nation know that such an institution exists, because it will be for all I and I. So give thanks again, Rastafari, Selassie, one perfect love.
Give thanks, give thanks, give thanks. Let me welcome those who are coming in. Please just come in, please join I and I. Please, give thanks. The energy that is here must represent family. So although I and I have a very, as I'm saying, it's family. It's all the family of them things, You know what I mean? Give thanks. So, while we do have a formal structure for the moving, for the event, Rastafari, we also going to talk like we're family, act like we're family, and perhaps correct some people, and perhaps we drop the remote and all them kind of things. But it's family. It's an event of family. I'm also going to advance a bit on the program in the interest of ensuring that the Honourable Minister can leave with an impression of what the Rising of the Gods retreat looks like. And all of us get a first look at it, yes? But to ensure that he sees it also. Before I do that though, I want to welcome the Right Honourable Priskelash to say offer some brief remarks on the initiative, its framing, while we work out the technical piece of this. Please, Right Honourable Priskelash, put your hands together. I want to know the money. It's a good man.
Yes, blessed love. All right. Give thanks for life and a mighty life giver. Give thanks for our worthy founder and leader, King Emmanuel Charles Edward. Give thanks for Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Give thanks for our divine Emperor Haile Selassie I and our Mother of Creation, Empress Menen. We give thanks for the Honorable Minister of Tourism that is in our midst. Give thanks for the Permanent Secretary. Give thanks for Sister Danny, the President of ICA. As I said, you are the first female President of ICA, the first female representative of ICA. Give thanks for that blessing. Give thanks for Bongo Wisely, Bongo Levi, members of the media. Give thanks for everyone who have taken the time out to actually be with us. Honorable Empress Ethiopia, give thanks for your divine presence. So today I'd just like to give thanks for the opportunity that we could have been here together to actually celebrate Rastafari. It's an occasion that we have to celebrate our Rastafari. I remember when I came out of Cuba, I had the opportunity to actually share on Bongo Wisely's platform that was like calling Rastafari. In St. Lucia, the Rastafari community have always been blessed to actually be intricately woven in the whole fabric of society. So most of the places in the world where, even a day like today, it might be difficult for a Rasta man to have a proper Rastafari burial. We might think that we are far back in St. Lucia, but the faith-based organization have actually fully recognized the Rastafari community, and these are things that we need to highlight. You know, this is like Jamaica, you have to go to a church to bury a Rasta man. This is like Barbados, Antigua, all these different countries. You know, the relative governments have not found it appropriate to allow the Rastafari community that opportunity to actually exercise their full churchical order. So we want to acknowledge the contributions that have been done by our ancestors, our elders, right? And this is why we came up with the whole aspect of Jaja and I. Because I'm saying that me as a younger Rastafari, you know, who actually had some difficulties, but my difficulties was nothing close to what the people before me actually went through. And even if I might have assisted them into making Rastafari more known in the country, I am but just a step in the development of where the Rastafari community actually have to reach. I'd like to acknowledge our elders, Mama Lavi, you know, give thanks for your contribution. And I remember a day when I was about 10 years ago, I said that I have to make all that glory, the sufferation, because it is not just that you suffered, it is that you suffered and you became victorious. You did not remain bitter and upset with society. You still continue to show actually love, right? So your works that you have done, honorable sister, and the tribulations that you have suffered will not go in vain. It is our responsibility as the younger generation to actually bring these things there to the front line, so at least people could remember what Mama Lavi actually went through. Because growing up, I never knew these things. When the eye told me about what you went through, and your children being refused in the hospital, and the up and downs you had to go, you know, to actually just get into a school, and your personal experiences, I said that it is necessary for us as a people, right, to actually highlight and celebrate the works and the contribution of our elders. And man like Bongo Wisely, you know, Bongo Levi, you know, and the other elders even in the Rastafari community, who did not just go and hide in the bush, you know, but found it also necessary to actually to celebrate the Rastafari history and their culture, and actually impact upon the development of our own country through agriculture, right, in the forestry, in the Ministry of Agriculture, and many different aspects that our people have actually contributed. So when I came, I just did my part as a student of, as a child of, and most times, even in our society today, we find it difficult to have a proper relationship between elders and the youth. You know, I must say that I have never disrespected any of my elders. You know, I've always held them in the highest esteem. I'm a strong man, I'm different, I will hold my views. You know, and if I see something different, I let a man know how it is. But my ultimate objective has always been for the celebration and for putting our elders on that pedestal that they deserve to be. I'd like to celebrate the INM, Honorable, for all the hard work that the INM have done. And I, as a younger one, I mean, I'm getting elder now already. I have my grays and my silvers coming forward. You know, that I could do my part, that when the other generation come, my children, that it might not be the same. I'd like to thank you, Honorable Minister, for the words that you have spoken. I remember in your office when we actually spoke, you know, and even right now as you speak, you get emotional. It's my job to feel people's energies, and it shows that you are actually speaking from your heart. So I give thanks for these vibrations, and I pray that you remain well, you know, you remain strong, because most of our leaders who stand up for something, you know, they end up, you know. Come on. You know, so be strong, you know, be grounded in your spirituality, because it's our differences that's our strength. So we're not here to actually convince or convict people to become Rastafari. We are saying that if you Adventist, you know, be a strong Adventist. If you Catholic, say your rosaries, you know, fast. When the Lent comes, stay at your home and pray. Because every force that we need, any physical strength that we need to actually defeat the enemy, the oppressor, and to rise up ourselves as a sovereign people, a sovereign nation, that's what we need.
Come on.
Because it is not that St. Lucia cannot do it. It is not that we have to charge the people $5 when they come into our harbor. We could charge them $50. We could say tomorrow we're going to ask Americans to get visa to come into St. Lucia. Why? Because we have realized what it is that we have in our midst, and we celebrate our most precious commodity, which is our people resources, our natural beauty, that people would envy it so much that they would want to pay the uttermost just to visit our shores, just to meet our people. You know, and I pray that our leaders, your government, you know, as they've come into power with the policy of people first, that our people themselves can hold you accountable, could speak to you, could reason with you, to keep you on the path, the upright path, because sometimes we believe that our leaders know it all, and our government's supposed to do everything. And even for us in the mountain, Monkey Lash Rejuvenation Center, we have refused to ask government for help even to build our roads. You know, we do it ourselves. We cut the grass ourselves. Why? Because we find that as a nation ourselves, as Rastafari, that our sovereign right, our ability, our capacity to actually work together to uplift our own people. So we're not here to ask you to do for us, you know, what we can do for ourselves.
Come on now.
We are here to tell you, how can we partner with you? How can you allow us to add value to what it is that you are doing? Because it's not that we have not been adding value, it's that our value, you know, have been underneath the bushel. Our lights have not been allowed to shine, and yet still we shine. You know, so we pray that the Creator might bless you and your administration with longevity, prosperity, with vision, and also the gonads. Testicular, I said the word English. Just look to English. Testicular fortitude. As they would say in English word, your balls. Right? To actually stand up and be strong, because you need to be strong.
Yes, sir.
To stand up for your people and don't sell out. To admire your socialist and your communist background. You know, and if you put your human background and all your upbringing from the Rasta man you were speaking with, you would be a fully well-rounded man. So give thanks again, and here is a space established where people could come and reason, because we lack in that, where we could come and speak about the problems, get the solutions, and we act upon it. So this, we discussed this in June. Not so? In June we say, well, we're going to do this. And that was it, and we're going on it. And I love this man because he reminds me of myself. Right? You know that, right? Because he works. You know, so he came in to the mountain for health reasons. And when he came, when he saw what was happening, he said, Chris, I see what you're doing here. Even if he's a lecturer at the university, he's a professor. He has his PhD. He was a chaplain in the prisons helping black people in America. And he said, what I have seen here in St. Lucia, right, I want to be a part of it and assist you in what you're doing. And he took on the mantle and, you know, and begins, I was sending these emails and checking everything and communicating, linking all the dots all around the world. Because this is the beginning as we are establishing the SOSA group, which is a Sacrament of Rastafari University, which is basically with our brothers at UWI, you know, our brothers in Baltimore, our brothers in Ethiopia, our brothers in South Africa, professionals in the Rastafari community that could allow people to understand what is Rastafari. So here in St. Lucia, we're going to be the forerunners, the front runners of it. And I give thanks that, you know, I pray that you have the opportunity to actually come and sample the ITAL food, because it's going to be ITAL here. So all the food is going to be cooked in clay pots. You are going to be eating from calabash. You're not going to be eating from the same thing that, you know, and this is what you have, your biodegradable, and you have your clay pots or your ceramic pots. That's the most expensive things nowadays. What the Rastafari was actually persecuted for. I remember your video where you said the police would come and break your what? Yeah, your yaba pot, your clay pot, yes, and tell you what?
Go and buy pan.
Go and buy pan. Now, right now, the world is saying that the healthiest pot is what? A clay pot. So you're 50 years ahead. So imagine that if our governments listened to us 50 years ago, and marijuana was already decriminalized. That means that St. Lucia would have been the leaders in technology, in how to vape, how to extract, how to do all manners of things from cannabis. Right? So let us be united. Baba, please. Let us be united and work together. And they say that left unmolested, as a nation, we can grow. In 50 years, we can build an empire that's greater than any empire ever built before. I, RasTafari.
Yes. Give thanks to our priest here. Of course, he represents himself well, of course, his empire very well. I am going to invite, just as I said, in breaking the flow of the program, the video on the rising of the gods, so that one can see what it is we speak about. Could we turn off that technology, please? The train.
Of the gods. That's exactly what we need to do.
We have to recognize that we are gods.
So it is the condition of being elevated or evolving to a higher level, so we can get back to the position where we are building for ourselves, we are growing foods for ourselves, we are helping one another internationally. We're no longer stuck in these small little labels.
And it motivates you to want to become a better version of yourself. Get connected with the earth, get connected with your roots, tap in, elevate. Sometimes that's what we need to get back to society, to become the best version of ourselves and keep pursuing our purpose, whatever that purpose is.
We live it every day. Or and being conscious of the African, being conscious of the Ras.
You have certain principles, align your speech with those principles, and then speak freely, because whatever you say will align with those principles to speak as a God. So that was an example of where a principle life leads you.
We utilize our linkage as individuals we are kids.
It's for me to notice and recognize and know that I am a God. And with that comes knowing that I have a gift and I have something of value to give.
We must challenge ourselves to actually do the rising and become the gods.
Yes, challenge ourselves to rise. To rise and become gods. Thank you again, Honorable Minister Hilaire. And we're going to talk again, we know that. Guidance and blessings, give thanks. So family, we have work to do.